Okay, so enough already about the group work. You've got that message really loud and clear. The word limit's 3,000, but this is going to be a bit tricky. Please don't exceed the 3,000 word limit. If 3,001 words, you get a 10% deduction. If you're significantly over that, you'll lose 20%. So as a non-starter, it excludes the title page, graphs, tables, and an extensive bibliography. Please, in this occasion, don't use appendices, and really I'm recommending that you use PowerPoint slides that don't have lots of words in. So actually the word count is mostly eaten up by the 2-page executive summary at the front and your individual reflections, which have a maximum of 2 pages. It's perfectly acceptable, particularly if you've got a small group, not to reach the word limit. I really wouldn't expect to see a lot of text on effective PowerPoint slides. A good rule of thumb is 16 words of text and some sort of graphical annotation. So really this isn't about finding a way to get 3,000 words. This is about writing a really good PowerPoint presentation, an effective 2-page executive summary, and doing some deep and meaningful reflections. What we want you to do is to choose a local, small or new organisation, and this doesn't have to be a for-profit company. It can be a public sector entity, a charity, pro society, anything you want. And the idea is here we're looking at small business, new business, and in the second assignment we'll look at big business. Have a chance to look at that. The groups are self-selecting. That means you get to choose them. Please don't ask a faculty member to help you find a group. If you're not in a group, if you're a 1 or a 6 group, you're going to get a 10-point penalty. So groups must be between 2 and 5, and ideally 3 to 4. 2's a pair and it's a bit light. 5's getting more difficult and unwieldy to manage. The ideal combination is 3 to 4, but recognizing some of the challenges that you guys have in terms of forming groups and making group work. We've been very flexible here and said, look, 2 to 5 is fine, but a singleton's losing 10 points, and if you're in a 6, expect to lose 10 points. Please don't negotiate. Those are the rules. There's no flexibility. And if you're a 6, why not split into 2 groups of 3? We're encouraging PowerPoint type slides. Don't have to use the PowerPoint application. Maybe you've got something that you like better. That's absolutely fine. Can you make it so that they read well in Turnitin? So have them on the horizontal and not on the vertical. That's pretty important to make the marking a little bit more straightforward. Essentially, my recommendation is you create a shell Word document with the executive summary at the front, the PowerPoint slides in the middle, and then your bibliography at the end, and then your personal reflections after that. Doesn't matter whether biblio goes last or before the reflections. The reflections piece is something you've probably never done before, and it's quite difficult. I often get lots of questions on that, so I'll probably do a separate video on that in a minute. And we've and I've covered the group work thing as well, so I'm not going to witter on about that. In Moodle, I've given you an assessment criteria to show you the weighting. Essentially, I'm putting a lot of weight on the executive summary. That needs to be in flawless English, but cover all of the main points of the PowerPoint presentation, and including the recommendations. You've got 10 to, and that's 20%. You've got 10 to 15 slides that should be thinking about showing your deep analysis, not unsubstantiated opinion, not descriptive work. You need to have a consistent style. I recommend that you use no more than 3 types of font, and you find a suitable color palette that doesn't clash, and really use the same size headings. So work PowerPoint's back end stuff to set up a theme and really stick with that. PowerPoint really doesn't work if you just ram it full of text. And the old adage is a picture paints 1,000 words. So really you should be thinking about how can you communicate in bullet points and succinct ideas everything that you want to put across, and be visually creative and stimulating. Graphs, images, pictorial representations are absolutely fine here. We want to, and there's 40 points for the PowerPoint slides, 40% of the weighting. We're looking for you to show use of extensive data from industry, but also that you've accessed learning in textbooks and journals, and I've given you the names of some of the e-resources that we'd expect you to use. The bibliography, I'm looking for regular, frequent in-text referencing, and really you should see a bibliography that's in excess of 4 pages. So if you want to get a first grade for there, you're going to deliver 4 pages. If you're happy to get a 2-2 grade, then 2 pages is going to get you a 50%-ish type grade. Yeah. The individual reflections I'm going to cover in a separate video. The penalties that we're going to apply: if you have a group that's too big or too small, you lose 10 points, and if you have poor grammar and spelling, you're going to lose 10 points. Yeah, so I'm not giving extra points for great writing. Finally, questions to consider that might help you think about this question. What are the examples of good and great practice? And here, think beyond the obvious. You might want to think about how your organisation compares with others, and that might be direct competitors or similar entities in different geographic locations, but it might be an entirely different kind of organisation doing something similar but in a completely different geographic or business context, and there can be some really interesting learning there. And really importantly, and something that's quite easy to overlook with a very practical assignment, is what theory are we drawing on? What theoretical frameworks and concepts have I used? Because this is a university assignment and we really need you to show theoretical academic learning as well. Good luck.